Safety Emergency Management Committee order. And first item on the agenda is approve the monthly report of the sheriff for February.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Who did Ray?
Yep.
Bob first.
Bob first, Ray second.
No pissing it.
Yep.
I'm just giving you one.
Anybody want to, anything that you want to give them the sheriff regarding this report? I think it's all pretty self-explanatory. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second one is approve Homeland Security grant for the Sheriff's Department.
So moved.
Second. Bob? You want to say anything about that, or? It's an annual.
Yeah, it's just an annual grant that we need approval on. This is one we applied for last year. The grants normally come in, we have a very narrow window to apply for it, so we just meet with the chiefs, we apply for it, get their input, and then it takes about a year for the contract to come back to us.
$37,000.
And this is funny.
Yeah, this is 38. Homeland Security.
Over the past few years, we've been doing communications and things like that.
Yeah, communications, training, equipment for all the various departments. Whatever they feel they need and whatever fits within the parameters of the grant application.
Mr. Chairman. Chris, those are those cards too, right? They go to the
Air cards?
Yeah, I think it's good for everybody to know that.
7,000 communication.
I think so.
38,000.
Yeah, but 7,000 for air cards?
10.
Yeah.
12,257.
We are amending some of that to continue the air card service and to put into the 2012 grant also.
Mr. Chairman, just to understand, so have the allocations to the various communities and what they're going to spend been determined, or now that we've gotten the grant it will be determined?
Usually we determine, Mr. Chairman, we determine what that's going to be before, we have to determine what we're going to use it for before we send the grant application in. And then it goes in front of the Homeland Security Committee. They look at it. There's many times when they take it back to us and say, you know, this agency can't use the money for that particular purpose. Sometimes it's training, sometimes it's equipment. So it's whatever they give back to us and say you can use this, then we have to move the money back around and put it into different areas. But we're really never really sure what they're going to allow us to do. We have a certain idea, but it doesn't always mean that.
Mr. Chairman, what I'm trying to understand the process then, it's already been determined on how it's going to be used by category and by department, and then it could be modified. Is there a way of looking at what went in just so that we recognize the broad base that's service?
We have the full grant application and all the items are in there.
I'd like a copy, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And this is,
Anybody else want a copy?
this I know you go through, meet with the chiefs. And it's done on a basis with all the chiefs of police, so it's done on, you know. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there anything else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Sheriff, what's the population today?
Well,
Today, the jail population, we're at 84 Monday. We were 81 this morning. We had 2 more tonight, so we're back at 83. We are currently using Fulton, Montgomery, Oneida, and Madison County. And right now, we're looking for, we're talking to the commission right now to try to find out where else we can send inmates. Sunday, we had to come in. We had to bring people in Sunday because there was some big bus in Fulton, Montgomery County. We had to move inmates from there. So we had to call in people to go get them and move them. So right now, we're just trying to find places to go within reason. We're looking at Rensselaer County and Shenango County.
Mr. Chairman, is it, I understand what you said about Fulton County, so is Oneida County topped out, they can't take any more in Montgomery County?
Depends on what inmates we have, Mr. Chairman.
The segregation and what's going out, is that what it is? Thank you. So they weren't available to us, is what we're saying, Oneida County's not available to us anymore.
We're looking for, you know, first thing we do is look at the cost and who's charging what. We try to go to the cheapest within reason, distance-wise. So we try to do the best job that we can, Mr. Chairman, to do it at a reasonable cost.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Just to more fully understand, doing it for cost, I certainly appreciate that that's important. But the fact that we're looking even outside of the counties that we've generally used, Is it because the capacity in those, for the segregations that we have has been full? And how long has this been a problem this month? Or from March and April? I didn't hear the,
It's who can take who.
Yeah, it's who can take who.
okay. And how long has this been an issue?
Housing out's been an issue since I've been here. We've been moving them back and forth. Sometimes we'll have females out, and then there'll be a rush of females in that certain area, and then they call us and say, you have to move the females out, or it might be minors. It depends what county's doing what.
So it's an ongoing issue,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman?
You know, what they do is that everything they do, it's not only what he has come in, but every other county has come in.
They're taking care
Puts
of
a
their
monkey
own
wrench in the
first.
mix.
Absolutely.
They're taking care of their own
And
first.
also, if, you know, there are certain counties that house federal inmates that are paying $115 a day. So when they get a call and say, we have 10 federal inmates, they're gonna call us because they're charging us 80 and say, you need to move your inmates out. I would do the same thing if it was up to me, because they're gonna get $35 per inmate a day more. I would do the same thing.
We got any of them that are under contract with the federal?
There are, Montgomery County is under contract, so they have to, you know, that routine, we did it here before, you have to maintain a certain number of beds for the federal government, if you get, and on the CAP program where you receive money to build your facility.
Yeah, I couldn't remember whether one of them we were dealing with,
Mr.
somebody
Chairman?
we looked at it.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yeah.
just have a couple of follow-up questions. Can we have an update on the status of the jail? At last month's meeting, Mr. Russell had made the comment that there has been no decision on a 130-bed or 136-bed jail. And in reviewing my notes and the presentation that Labella gave us, it was very clear on what they were driving, and Labella's comments were that they've been working with the committee, because when I asked further what committee, he pointed out, I think it was pointed out that there were some of you from different committees, so there really is not a bona fide committee that's looking at it. Can we have an update on really where we stand on the jail? So
With 130 beds?
Is that what we're directing? Mr. Russell had said at the meeting,
We
I
have
don't know that
tried-
you were here, but he
Mr.
said
Smith
no.
and I both tried writing the commission, talking to the commission to get that reduced.
No, but
We
that's not the issue that was said at the public meeting is that there is no plan for 130. It has to come back to the legislature to determine, and I thought that had happened.
So there was no decision. We're looking at 130, but I think with Pat, and he's not here, but I'm not trying to put words, there's been no collective decision to go with 130. We're just looking at 130.
I think the decision was made more on COCs than ours.
Well, what's the architect working on?
We started out at 180 beds, got it down to 130. Ray wrote them, I know.
We went to 165.
Or 165, and then 130. Ray wrote them and asked
For 180.
108. I wrote them, I think it was 116 I asked for. They wouldn't entertain either one.
I recall that, but the point I'm making is there's people working on this. The architects are apparently working on it. They've given us a PowerPoint presentation. What direction have they been given to design around? I mean, they gave us a
130
pod.
beds.
It's 100, so it
130,
has.
154.
So we're paying an architect to design for 130 at 154 double bunking with a core of how much? The core is going to support the growth to what?
The Corps would support 220, was it, Ray?
250, was it?
No, I don't think it was 250, 220, I think it was.
220?
That's the
Okay.
mechanics.
I think there was
of
two
the building.
additional,
Right.
would have supported two additional.
Can you advise me whether anybody in the county is looking at any other sites than the PNC?
Not right at this moment.
I realize we're all here. I mean, is it in conversation, any place that we're looking at other sites?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, Mr. Chairman of the committee, one would hope you would be, right? We would hope. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. You know, I mean, there's been several thrown out, but nothing that.
There's been
We're
no
looking at-
discussion in any committee or any formal
No.
place within the county?
No.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Of your 80 plus or minus inmates today, what number would be parole violators? Four, yeah.
What was that
Unless
question,
we got
Dennis? I
another
couldn't hear.
Parole violators today.
Unless we got another parole violator in, you know, since this morning. I knew we were having two more coming in this morning. I'm not quite sure what they were. Either us or four, but I knew they were.
Any idea the longest of the four has been there?
We're gonna have one of them for about 60 days.
To my knowledge, Dan, there's still that bill out there from the Senate to have the state reimburse us for the full amount. That hasn't died yet. So I don't know.
Anything anything going in the assembly that would be a companion bill to it? or-
Minimum wage.
Okay.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
say that half kidding.
Yeah. That's the bargain?
that's always the
That's,
bargain.
you always hear those discussions, you know, whether it is or not, I can't speak to it, but
When you
from what I've
mention,
heard from the guys I talked to in Albany, that's why it's not dead.
when you mention parole violators, would there be any other state readies that we're still holding that are part of that mix, that are not parole violators but waiting to be taken?
Usually, the state readies, they've been very good at getting them out, because if we have them any more than, I believe it's 14 business days, that they have to reimburse us from the time they were in there that they were state ready. So they've been very good about getting them out before the 14 business days,
That's
which
not-
does not include weekends.
And I think probation, Chris, has done a pretty good job working with you guys too, to make sure that they are ready to go.
Some time ago, at our inter-county meeting, I made mention of the fact that parole violators were causing a problem in our jail. And at that time, the other members of the inter-county didn't feel it was a problem. That they hadn't talked to their sheriff. And I was talking to legislators and supervisors. At the last meeting we were at, it was brought up that parole violation is a problem in these other counties. So there is pressure to make this thing change.
It has been for a long time.
Yeah.
You would think it'd be huge downstate.
Well,
It is.
well,
You should see
yeah,
the
but
numbers.
the ones we deal with aren't downstate, they're all.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, you know, that with the assembly,
Yeah.
which is based, they have a heavy base down there, you'd think they'd be looking at it a little harder. It's gotta affect them.
Sheriff, a traditional cause of overcrowding is, a traditional percentage has always been unsentenced prisoners that you have. And could this be being aggravated by the conflict of interest our county judge has with some of these cases? Therefore, they're remaining there, are their cases unadjudicated longer because of his conflict?
No, no. I think it's been the same as it's always been since I've been here. And if you remember, the state courts came in and did a study and determined that our county operates very efficiently, especially between agencies.
But the question, Mr. Chairman, would be that the judge was the DA, and some of these people that are in there could have been handled
No.
as of him as a
I think I
DA.
answered the question. No, that's not the issue. It's pretty much the same as it's always been.
Hasn't changed.
Same
in
percentage.
the-
Mr. Chairman,
have
can
the
we
family
ask the
court
sheriff
judge- the family court
how many
judge
are
is now
unsentenced
handling
that he has, does he
county
know?
court, so everything is operating the same. I haven't seen a difference in that.
What do you got, roughly how many unsentenced? You got a ballpark idea?
I don't off the top of my head.
Unsentenced, it usually runs what, 75?
70%. Yeah, usually 70%.
We have the monthly report.
Yeah, it's been that way for
Usually
a long
70%
time.
forever.
Mr. Chairman, we're getting variances as long as we keep showing progress toward progressing toward a new jail. How's this litigation with Herkimer? Is that gonna slow it down, or is that gonna be a problem, showing progress?
I doubt it as long as we're showing progress. I hope it doesn't.
How are they measuring our progress? What's going on?
Just by what we're
They
proceeding,
do.
you know, I mean, just.
That we're suing.
We're swinging like that, you know.
Have we filed suit in both issues, both for the land and the,
I
or the
would
sewer
refer to
and the
This is
zoning?
alone.
Yes.
We have, both have been filed.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
A second?
Second.
Second, Brad? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.